I think initially I wasn't, to be absolutely honest, I wasn't that excited about the sculpture, about the commission at the start. I mean, I was interested, but I suppose I had very stereotypical views of firefighting, and the firefighters had stereotypical views of artists as well, I might add. But it wasn't until I got to know them and get involved in their work that all the different layers were kind of unveiled, and the potential of the piece became much more obvious to me, much more exciting. Because as a member of the public, you tend to just think in kind of loosely, kind of heroic, macho terms, which, every job has its stereotype, and I suppose I hadn't really been given the opportunity to see beyond that. So it wasn't until I was involved in the shortlist and at this interview I got to meet firefighters, and their whole kind of world and culture became much more interesting to me. I say probably the best sculptures have lots of different layers of meaning, and to some degree I was probably, on a very basic level, I was interested in taking something which is very publicly effective and well kind of evidenced in the cityscape is the bronze heroic statue, in inverted commas, like the ones you would see in George Square, a granite base bronze sculpture. But there were certain things I wanted to subvert about that genre to make it different and to make it more contemporary. And I suppose the most noticeable feature of Citizen Firefighter is its anonymity. And through the use of the breathing apparatus, this allowed me to basically give a kind of a neutral demeanour to the firefighter, where the sex, race, emotional state of the firefighter is kind of hidden. And this was quite an important device because it allowed me to, or allowed the viewer to project their own emotional response to the firefighter. And to some degree, the whole history of fire brigade art has been quite, not wanting to put anybody down, but it tends to be quite one-dimensionally heroic. And in talking to a lot of firefighters, they are a little uneasy with that. A lot of them are anyway, with that sort of image. And also that type of art tends to give you a one-dimensional reading, so you have only one response from it. Whereas Citizen Firefighter allows different people to come and get different things from it. I think the drama, if you like, if there is any drama in that piece, it's implied through the use of, well, through the wearing of kit. If you have to wear a breathing apparatus and a hard helmet and heavy clothing, protective clothing, then by implication you're going into a dangerous situation. You don't have to be in a heroic pose or in a precarious situation. You don't have to depict that. It's already implied in the kit. Any sculptor given a city centre site like that, it's a fantastic place. It's a slightly kind of odd place as well. I mean, I don't think Glasgow has many great sites for sculpture, but somehow Citizen Firefighter suits that corner. They say it's the most polluted part of Glasgow, so a breathing apparatus is quite useful for them. When you do get involved in public art, you do meet a lot of kind of gloom and doom merchants who say things like, "Oh, they'd have it, it'll get painted, or but this." And I was to some degree quite nervous because I took the idea of placing the sculpture quite low, so it was very tactile. You could walk up. It's one of the few sculptures in Glasgow where, say, like you can actually walk up and touch, a bit like, in a way of what blind people don't get from sculpture, really, that they can from this work. And the decision to have it low was kind of based on the whole idea of making it, the firefighter accessible and not heroicising him too much, but elevating him just enough to say this is a special job. It's a tough environment for an accessible sculpture to exist in, and it's survived so well. I'm really, really pleased with that aspect, and I think that's testimony probably to the fire brigade's image, or fire brigade's kind of role in society. I would think had a great deal to play with that acceptance. And then of course September 11th changed a lot of things as well. There was I think it was an unspoken thing between myself and the brigade that inevitably there would be some point in history and in the future where there would be loss of a firefighter, and the statue might then serve a social function as well as an art function, if you like, where people could gather. And it was unspoken, as I say, but in the back of everybody's mind, I think we thought, well, maybe, you know, there could be an incident within Strathclyde and somebody might lose their life, and you know, the memorials can have a social function at that point. Not that it was a memorial, but it served as one. But like everybody, September 11th was beyond the imagination and quite kind of indescribable, really. You can't, it's very hard to, but what was interesting about the statue was it allowed people to get together and gather, and you know, the combination of wreaths, some bagpipes, the statue, you know, it allowed people to sort of share and relate to each other at that time. So for me, that was a great accolade as a sculptor, truly a great accolade, because often you can become, you know, well, it's great if you get, say, praise from the art world about what you do, but most art kind of exists within that rarefied atmosphere, and it doesn't cross over to the general public. I mean, a lot of it does, but the vast majority of it doesn't. It stays well within the art world. And on this occasion, the Citizen Firefighter played a part, and certainly in the west coast of Scotland, in dealing with the aftermath of that.